Okay, we in attendance, we have,
Oh, you can mute.
Yeah, the host muted you.
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt, but the meeting is on mute. If we're joining by Zoom, we can't hear anything. Sorry.
Thank you.
do we have any announcements? Yes, Michelle.
I have an announcement. This is Michelle Wiltshire Clement. I would like to make an announcement anytime I can for the Public Awareness Conference that will be happening December the 1st at East 119th Street, Hunter. 2023. Thank you.
Dave, you have an announcement?
Oh, this, I'm sorry, as we had mentioned in previous morning meetings and at the full board, November 7th, we'll be celebrating Kelsey Stevens' 50 years. It was a retirement, but we're celebrating 50 years and continuing to work as he is still coaching and also working on the, what is that? The Nitro Facilities run, the Saturday Night Lights or whatever it is.
Oh,
The program.
right.
But that will be November 7th at the Dunleavy Millbank Center. Many community members are attending. Many of his former players will also be attending, and we look to celebrate Kelsey at that time.
What's Kelsey's last name?
Stevens. Stevens.
Yes, and I will be there. I also have an announcement. I'm doing my annual drip drive, is basically giving out clothing, shoes, anything that we can to anyone that's in need on 125th Street. We'll be doing it this Saturday from 10 AM to 1 PM. The 1 PM is a little loose with 1 PM, only because once we get a lot of the stuff that's passed out, like around 12:30, we may start wrapping up depending on how the day is come. So it's not whatever we have, and we get these donations from just anybody that wants to donate. And we are Uptown Grand Central, normally we partner with them. And Carrie King normally helps us out with that drip drive, which is basically just trying to get back to the communities. Yes,
Do you have a flyer or something?
I do, but it's digital, and I'll send it
Yeah,
to Angel in
QR,
a second, so that
QR. You said digital, meaning like a QR?
no, not a QR, just it's online. Basically, I can send it to you.
Okay, yeah,
But not a QR code, no,
thank you.
no problem. Is that it for the announcements? Yes. Any informational updates? None. City agencies? Any city agencies?
David Williams on from Parks.
Oh, okay.
Hello, hi, good evening. Yeah, I have a few updates in Parks Department, and I have 3 new park supervisors joining the district. Philip Walker is the new level 2 PS supervisor. Philip Walker at parks.nyc.gov. He's if you can't reach me, you can always reach out to him for any district request. Our seasonal park hours of operation changing yesterday, November 1st. We're gonna finalize that daylight saving Sunday. So our new park hours will be 7 AM to 6 PM. And our restrooms our hours of operation are changing to 8 AM to 4 PM. Of course, well, depending if it's a nice day outside, we'll try to keep the restrooms open a little longer, depending on staffing availability. The sports, all at our sports fields, the lights will also be adjusted according to, to reflect the time change as well. So the lights and our park lights should be coming on between 4:30 and 5 PM. Volunteers, this is the month of November. This is like we're winding down our volunteer season. So this should be like our last couple of volunteer events at Thomas Jefferson and Marcus Garvey Park. I have volunteers coming around on November 4th, Saturday, November 8th at Thomas Jefferson, and November 15th at Thomas Jefferson. They're mostly helping us, finalizing, just cleaning up debris and raking up leaves. A lot of youth volunteers. So it's always great to see them out there. Paul Richards, we opened up the new basketball courts a couple of weeks ago. New sports coding. Thanks, Curtis, thanks to Sports Time, they definitely helped us out they came through and helped us make the court looks nice and new for to go with the playground that was opened up a couple of months ago as well. Blake Hobbs basketball court was also resurfaced and recoded. I'm gonna try to get some new rims, some new nets, just to make it look more inviting. I'll probably help. I know the last order I put in, it was like a back order from the supplier. So hopefully I get that before it warms up again. And what else I have? Homeless encampment. We have conducted 49 homeless encampment removals this season. We're like leading the pack as far as Manhattan is concerned. The last removal was at each one teach one. There's a gentleman that he's always hanging out underneath the red steps there across the bridge. He actually accepted services, so that's great. If we get one person to accept service, it's an accomplishment. The next one we have coming up this weekend as well would be on 135th Street on the Harlem River Drive. And last but not least, the marathon is Sunday, and we will have them coming through the park, and we have a tent set up for ongoers to check out the marathon. That's it. Any questions for me?
Michelle?
I have a question, right after Poor Richards Park, what was the park that you said that you were gonna put nets up in?
Blake Hobbs.
Lake-
Blake Hobbs basketball court, yes.
I have a question, Dave. Where would your tin be at on,
Last season, it was right next to the playground across the street from the library, right in that little plaza right there in the opening. That's where they usually have tents set up there.
in Marcus
And-
Garvey?
And Marcus Garvey, yes, I'm sorry. Inside Marcus Garvey Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, we have a lot of parks that they passing by.
Right.
You know,
That's like the flagship setup.
I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Dave.
Absolutely.
Is any other, no, that's it? Angel?
There's one more rep from Parks, I don't know if they have a report. Donna Milza.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's Donna from Randall's Island. Just a few updates as we're wrapping up our season now. We have one other major event coming up. It's Circus Vasquez. That will run from November 17th through December 4th. They're going to have a show each evening, Monday through Friday at 7:30. And then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, they'll have a 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and a 7 p.m. show. As far as our programming, we're wrapping up our 2023 season. We've had great success with over 7,000 participants at our free drop-in events. And of course, all of our programs are free. We have volunteer opportunities still available Wednesdays and Saturdays for Team River. And all of our grass fields will be closed on December 1st and reopened on March 15th. Any questions?
Is there a flyer?
A flyer for what? The circus?
Yes.
We don't have a flyer, but they have a website. And if you go on to the Circus Vasquez website, you can find additional information as far as ticket pricing and so forth.
I thought that you said that they were gonna be in Randall's Island, no? Did I get that incorrect?
They're gonna be located, yes, we're having a festival. The circus will be there from November 17th through December 4th. We don't have a flyer for that because it's from, Circus Vasquez. All the information is on their website.
And it's free, right?
Excuse me?
Is it free?
No,
Oh, no, unfortunately, it's not free. What we're seeing right now, the ticket prices are anywhere from $30 to $90. And we're in talks with them. We're hoping to maybe, it would be nice if they did something like a community evening or something like that we were speaking of, but this is the first time they're having the event at Randall's Island. Typically, it's held in the Bronx in the park. It's held in a park in the Bronx. And but unfortunately, that's currently under construction. So
Okay, thank you.
it's not free, unfortunately.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
thank you. That's it. Being that there's no more city agencies or partners available.
This is Robert McLean, if you can hear, also a manager at Marcus Garvey. I got some information I can give you.
Oh, please do. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we had the Junior League this year, and they contributed quite a bit of money, and they gave us a great deal of a very nice cedar lumber. And I was working with the carpenters this morning, and it'll be up on the pool deck. And what they're doing now is they've already built the deck. It's a cedar deck, and they're putting a handrail next with a design. And they've been working there for about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 days a week. When they finish that, they'll complete our second hoop house. It'll be a propagation house. So our gardener will be able to propagate his own annuals. So instead of spending hundreds of dollars for the flowers, he'll be just spending a dozen dollars. We'll just propagate all our annuals by seed. So we have one propagation building already built, and the carpenters are going to build our second one. And then they're going to build an ornamental fence in front of that chain link fence that's existing. And then they have torn down the pergola, and they're going to rebuild that as well. So within about 30 days or more, they should be completed. But it should be a very beautiful facility.
Any questions?
Excuse me, thank you. I just wanted to find out, you were able to, with the donations from the Junior League, you were able to make not one, but two propagation houses and including an ornamental fence and tearing down and rebuilding a gardola, what do you?
Let me itemize. We got one propagation building. We got ourselves through parks. Then we got another propagation building donated by some volunteers from a corporation. We built what we could, but the propagation building needs two very sturdy ends made of plywood and with doors. And our carpenters are going to build that for us in their shops. So that's two propagation buildings. And then in front of the propagation building, looking at the stadium seating, we're building a deck, a cedar deck for lecturing for people that are interested in horticulture, and also for training horticultural volunteers to work at Marcus Garvey. That's two things we're doing. And then we had an old pergola, but it was not safe. So we tore it down, and these volunteers, the partnerships with the Junior League, donated the money for a brand new pergola. And they're going to build that as well. And then besides that, there's a chain link fence that separates the pool area from the propagation buildings, from the hoop houses. So instead of having a chain link fence, an 8-foot chain link fence, they're going to build a decorative fence made of cedar, just to make the area more beautiful. And underneath the pergola, we have already very nice tables and chairs. So once it's finished, we'll probably have either a ribbon cutting or some notification that the facility is finished. But I think it's going to take about 4 or 5 more weeks.
Any other questions, members? Public? No? Now to presentations and discussions, we have, Metropolitan Hospital flood wall update. As they have.
Oh, it looks like I can't share my screen until you unshare your screen.
1 second, you'll be able to. You'll be good now, Melissa.
Great, thank you so much. So I'm Melissa Johnson. I'm the community engagement lead for the Metropolitan Hospital Flood Wall Project, which is being managed by New York City Health and Hospitals along with New York City EDC. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with the project site, but it is bounded by East 99th and East 97th Streets on the north and south, and by 1st and 2nd Avenue on the east and west. In addition to the actual project site, the project also includes some infrastructure upgrades that will increase stormwater pumping capacity in the general area surrounding the hospital. Just quickly to go over some background. The project was born out of Hurricane Sandy and the damage that the hospital suffered as a result of flooding in the basement and also damage to the hospital's below ground infrastructure. So following the storm in 2012, the hospital restored many of the damaged areas and worked with FEMA to develop plans to mitigate future damage. The scope of work that we have here is essentially building a perimeter flood mitigation system around the hospital's campus, which includes some areas of the hospital being reconfigured to support that flood mitigation system, increasing the stormwater pumping capacity in the surrounding area, and relocating the emergency management room at the hospital. Overall, the goals are to maintain life safety, minimize operational impacts following a flood event, to protect the campus from damage that can be caused by future storms, including the 500-year storm event, and to tie into the city's overall resiliency plans. So construction has been ongoing for some time now. We have some updates. Phase 1, the paving is done for the physician's parking lot, and the paving for the south entrance is anticipated to be finished by the end of the year. The north entrance paving is supposed to be done by the end of the year, and we are currently wrapping up all of the underground plumbing for the pumps and wiring and other infrastructure, and the majority of the paving should be done by the end of the year as well. And different finishes, landscaping, lighting will continue through March of 2024. For phase 3, the 2nd Avenue lot slab installation for the final detention tank is ongoing. And for phase 4, there's granite tile work for waterproofing operations on the mental health building that is ongoing. And that includes facade removal, cleaning, and reinstallation as well. Some upcoming activities that you'll see in the area: we are working on sidewalk and roadway restoration to 1st Avenue between 97th Street and 99th Street, and that'll be ongoing from the end of this year into 2024. And then after the last detention tank is installed, the plumbing and the flood wall near Second Avenue will begin being constructed in early 2024. One thing that you may have noticed is that the north parking lot just reopened yesterday. So that is now complete and reopened as of yesterday morning. A couple of other updates for happenings surrounding the hospital. The parking lot at 97th Street and First Avenue is currently closed, and it will be through early 2024. The farmers market, which is open still through November 17th, is currently at a temporary location on 2nd and 97th, and that is open Fridays 8 through 3. It just is in a temporary location right around the corner from where it used to be. The M96 bus stop is temporarily stopping at the northwest corner of 97th and 2nd. The bus is not stopping at the northeast corner anymore. There are signs in that area directing people to where the bus is stopping. And the main entrance at 97th Street is currently closed, but the ER entrance there is remaining open. And these are some renderings of what the finished hospital will look like. This is on 2nd Avenue and incorporating the public art installation. First Avenue. This is the southwest corner of the hospital. This is First Avenue looking towards 99th Street. Also some public art on the left there. 97th Street side. And this is the northwest corner of the hospital. And I am happy to answer any questions. We also have a project hotline and a project email address. If anyone has any questions, or if you'd like to be added to our mailing list, you can send an email there and we will add you to the list.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. Jewel?
So, hello, Melissa, I think you and I spoke, Joel Jones, I had called to request a presentation from you guys.
Yes, I remember.
And just an FYI, I actually just left Metropolitan Hospital. They actually had a presentation and it was one of your partners, John Anderson, Gilbane.
Yes.
So just in terms of, so we all know that there are 4 phases rather, this project. So you're not really completing a phase and then moving to the next. You're doing this concurrently, correct?
Correct. So the 4 stages are sections of work at the different corners of the hospital. So while they start in order, they do overlap with each other.
And there were some questions about the signage, the level of signage or lack thereof in terms of the hospital. And with all candidness, there was one entrance that was open but that's closed. And now again, which is great, you open up the entrance on 99th Street. But in terms of, I live about a block away and I actually went past that because I didn't realize it was open, went all the way around to the 2nd Avenue side. So I'm glad it's open. Perhaps they could have been a better job in terms of signage or just making sure that it's open and people realize there are barricades there. So realize that the barricades either be removed or there's some space where people can enter, exit, et cetera.
Yeah, so we recently just made that change and we are still kind of working. We try to open the entrances as soon as we can, even if there is still work that requires barricades in that area. So we are still sort of moving things around and we will continue to add signage wherever it's needed. And if anyone sees a location where they, think signage is needed, I'm always happy to hear from you. And I know, Jewel, last time we spoke, we did add some additional signage based on our conversation. So we do value feedback from the public. And if you see something that looks confusing or anything like that, please let us know and we'd be happy to update it.
You finished? You want to finish? Yeah.
So just in terms of the project completion, so the anticipated completion date is, or timeframe is?
So we are looking at, I don't want to give you the wrong answer. We may be extending the completion date. We were looking at sometime next year and it may go a little bit farther. So I can get back to you on a more firm date.
So tentatively, no date right now?
So tentatively, here, let me bring back up the one second.
And
The
while you're
overall
doing-
schedule here, and I can show you where some of the overlaps are. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I just wanted, while you're doing that, I just want to say thank you very much for responding, answering my questions when I called. I do appreciate that. And again, I live near there. And again, I'm on the cab at Metropolitan Hospital. And, you know, I'm the kind of like the advocate. So in terms of community members, and if community members are asking me questions, then, you know, that's why I ask them questions. So I do appreciate you all. And obviously in the long term, in the long run, it's a benefit to the college in terms of that real resiliency. So thank you very much.
Sure, sure. So the original completion date was spring, summer of 2024. Some of the phases, you know, did overlap a little bit more than we had initially thought. So we are still hoping to target that date, but it may be slightly later than that.
Thank you very much.
Michelle?
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for presenting, and I also live quite near you and have been to the hospital within the past year visiting. I was also concerned about signage and the changing in the, when buses are changed and stops are changed and people are confused, and I'm specifically I did not take the bus, but a few people came up to me and were very confused on where is the bus. They couldn't read a handwritten sign that was in English, that was in pen, that was very light for senior citizens to read. And also was the DOT instructed that about this change, because buses were passing by at that particular time and they just kept going. I just don't understand the signage, the changes and how permanent they are and how could they be made better, especially when it comes to buses and informing the community, specifically senior citizens.
Sure. So was that recently that you experienced that, or it was a while ago?
Semi-recently, I didn't walk past this weekend, so it's not that recent.
Okay, so we did update the signage not that long ago. We can definitely look at it again. You know, the signage is partly us, partly, you know, other agencies, partner agencies as well. So, you know, we can get back in touch with them to see what more can be done, and to see if we can re-up some of that signage.
I just wanna make sure that the signs, if, when they're put out, they're not written in like blue ink. At least in like a magic marker that's very,
Type it up and put it on
but
paper.
I'm just, if that is too much, but just to have it very, very large. So that a person who is unable to see something to light would be able to read it and to have it bilingual.
Understood. I will definitely pass that request along. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Rosie?
I was actually going to ask about the language. How many languages are the signage in? Because there's a lot of different population down there.
We have traditionally had them in English and Spanish.
Are you able to add any more languages?
I can certainly put that request in. What were you thinking of other languages for?
Well, Chinese, Arabic, Mandarin, Bengali, whichever, as many as you could possibly, because it's gonna be like another, what, 6 more months or more probably?
Yeah, another, you know, maybe 6 to 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
easy to translate, Google Translate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave, I just have one more question, and I might maybe I don't remember this. I know you didn't say it at this meeting, but you probably said it before. Who is doing the artwork? I know I believe it's someone local, or I can't remember, but I know it was brought up one time and it was spoken about. but I can't remember it. Do you know?
Sure. His name escapes me. Let me just find it right here. He is a local artist. I do know that. His name is Miguel Luciano.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that concludes the Metropolitan Hospital flood wall update. As far as discussions is concerned, meaning Jessica and I spoke about Earth Day, Planet Earth Day. And Earth Day is coming up soon. It's gonna hit us right in the face. And the only thing that I actually told her that at least I wanted to do was put it on everyone's radar. And hopefully by next month, we can have like little tasks that we can probably, because she was taking on a lot of the bulk of the work within the last few years. And I think it's our duty to like kind of help her out and trying to relieve her from some of this I guess strenuous work that she's been doing with Earth Day. Seemed like she was, chopping her head off, moving around, doing this, doing that. So I think it'll be good if we could get a head start so that we don't have to rush and we can take our time. Anything that we can provide as assistance, we can do it early so that we won't, cramping it up within a month or so. So I think it's very, very good that we start the discussion and get your thoughts. Just basically on, I guess, on last year, or not really what we can do this year, but more so let's deliberate on what happened last year and what are your thought processes about last year? Yes, Michelle?
I like the space that we had it in, and I propose that we do it in, we request for the same space once again. Request it in advance so that that is not one of the limiting factors, or like, where are we gonna have it? How much is it gonna cost? If we have the space designated right away, that's a huge chunk of everything.
She mentioned that, and she mentioned that she brought it up in the monthly, in our full board meeting. So when they presented the new director, I believe, or president, I forgot what was her title. But she mentioned it, Jessica mentioned that we have done it Earth Day there last year, and we're looking forward to do it this year. But I definitely spoke to her about that, and we definitely think that it should, exactly what you're saying.
This would be year 3 now.
It would be the
Yes.
third, yes.
Yes. And so
And I-
before they, don't have the date or whatever, let's just do it now. And I definitely spoke to her about that.
Beautiful.
Yes.
What about the date? Is it like specifically on the Earth
Well,
Day?
I believe we had it on a Friday and Earth Day was Saturday. So we can find out what day it is now by looking it up.
I looked it up, it's April 22nd of 2024 on a Monday.
That could be,
Yeah.
right, but that
No,
didn't,
no. So no, it changes, like I said, yeah. No, it's a Friday. No, this is 22.
2 years back.
That was this year.
This year's 2023.
Yeah, it says April 10th.
Oh, no, it's actually on a Friday.
No,
April
that-
2024 is Friday. I mean, April the 22nd.
April 22nd.
I was thinking, I'm sorry, April 26th is something
Like she
else.
said.
I was thinking of something else. That's the person's birthday that I can never forget. Whoops. Okay, the 22nd.
Some chocolate?
Yeah, you had some already.
Yeah.
Would any of y'all like some chocolate in the audience there? You're welcome, please.
No, nah, that's funny.
And we typically had it during the week, right? We never had it on the weekend.
We never had it on the weekend, and we can discuss that. I don't know, because it's during the day, she likes to do it during the day, we might have to do it during the week, I don't know, on the weekend, yes.
The reason why it is during the day is, and on a weekday, is because of the different agencies and, the city agencies as well. They're employed during the week,
Okay, so they definitely have to.
and that's when they're
And-
coming to me.
And we are not.
They say, we are employed, but we take the day off. But we do want like, Senator Serrano, our deputy.
Elected officials.
Ayala, we want all the elected officials and their staff. And the youth are in school that David brings over.
Well,
Thank
there's no
you.
school that day. Last year
It was
was,
Eid.
yes, it was a Muslim holiday. So we
This
had-
year, we don't know, yet. You don't know?
I could check the date, but I have that one.
It's Monday, there is school.
No, no,
It
but
could
we
be.
didn't necessarily do it. We also have to see what the museum's availability is,
Yeah,
right?
that too.
So that's also one of the things.
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. That there is no school the whole week.
It's spring week,
Yes,
spring break.
week.
Right, which sometimes is a lot more challenging to get certain kids there to do a presentation. But we will have a group there that will work on that. And there was no school last time either.
Yeah, but one day, but a whole week, they're gone.
But it is a little, the
We
break starts
would-
on the Monday,
That would not
so.
interfere with us having a group
Right.
representative
No,
to
of
do as
course,
we
yeah.
did last time, so we could continue.
How many schools do you want?
No, normally we just have, last year we had, David had a group of kids that came and they even presented.
So we had two groups. We had one from our
Okay.
Millbank one from our Hope Leadership Academy, which is on 114th and Madison. And they worked specifically with teenagers. And then we had our students from the school, the middle school, and the Keystones present. They'll be there again.
Was there?
Actually, Asher will be working with them on the project, and that's who worked with them last year.
Right. Was there anything that you thought about last year's, birthday, sir?
It's always good,
Okay.
but we have to keep in mind is the Earth Day with all the elected officials and all that. Primarily, we want to educate the young people. For all the other political reasons and other things to get their support is why we need them here. And they supposed to do this, that's not who's focused, what the program is supposed to be about. It's Earth Day.
And we also had the activity afterwards, so that was, a little different with the woman that I work with who does arts and leadership with youth, did the sun catchers with the bottles and recyclable bottles again, so we'll tie into a project as well as a fun project.
I think one year there was a Con Edison, was there, about solar panels and whatnot, but they did not return the following year. I would be interested in.
They have also the bio bus might be nice to look into getting. They have a bus that actually comes and you go inside and it has all these things that are related to life and biology and kids can go in, even adults. So maybe we should look into getting that as well.
What did you say?
The bio bus. So the bio buses, they have a few of them. They come out, and they have educational programs attached to them as well. But they come out and it has a bus that's been converted and has different forms of life, plant life, animal life on it. that's really good to engage, and maybe something we can have.
Is that with Con Edison or is that?
No, that's, I forget the agency that does it, but you know, they do a lot of stuff with youth programming in schools. In fact, it's been at a few of the fairs that have been around with youth, when we had the
Yeah.
DOE D4 Welcome Back.
What about kids singing and dancing or band or something?
Well, Asher was gonna,
We can ask
I
Asher,
don't know, but
yeah.
No, because there's, okay,
Well, again, let's not lose sight of what the event is, and we have limited time, and there's a lot of presentation. I mean, we were there 2 hours doing a presentation.
mhm.
There's a lot of agencies that come present around climate change, different issues. How do we recycle? How do, you know, so that's kind of the thing. It's more informational than really entertaining.
Activities.
Right. Now, we included activities and getting people more involved, and it was nice. We went out after we had the presentation. You know, when we had the last full board, that's what we had, the presentations. And different groups presented, and then we went outside, had some food. There were a few other different tables set up, providers that gave away stuff. And then we had an activity for people to engage in. So it's not really like we're getting out there performing. SBIS office came and they spoke. So, you know, it's less that. Now, you know, we want to do something that's the dog and pony show. That's a different event.
Yeah, because we had people talk about the wildflowers and what is the spectrum of wildflowers in the different areas, not necessarily only Manhattan, but in the Bronx and Queens, and kind of like really engaging the kids and getting them involved in what the presentation was like. Oh, I do that, I do that. And so weaving in as much information as possible so that people get excited, so that the second half of the afternoon is talking about it, asking one-on-one questions with city officials. I mean,
And they all set it up,
3 minutes,
tables.
4 minutes, but the biggest part was in the afternoon, just really discussing it, but not like a whole forum, like, you know, oh, I want to ask you this question. So informal, so that it made it more personal, and it looked like they were excited.
Yeah. I believe, Randall's Island had their Earth Day the next day. I wanna say, but they did come over and presented as well.
They
I
weren't
don't-
allowed the earthworms, though. They wanted to bring them.
We didn't bring worms, we weren't allowed.
they
We
should
said-
have brought them.
We said, no, I think because they were technically live animals, we weren't allowed to bring,
In the
yeah,
museum.
you can always count on us for our support, absolutely.
Maybe
a
we
great
could
time
set it
last-
up on the
They
outside.
didn't want one of them to get loose, that's what it was.
They move so fast.
We were outside. We'll
Do
come
you
up with
know-
a good idea this, or next.
Do you know, if your Earth Day will be that Saturday before Earth Day or after? Or is it?
I don't
not-
know at this, I don't know right now, yeah.
Okay,
I'll have to, yeah, I would have to see if they set the schedule here. But it's usually right around the same time.
yes, of course. I know.
Yeah, you can
Thank-
count on us.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, you know, we had a great time last year. It was really wonderful. I know before you guys were speaking about, you know, maybe why it was during the day, but I know a big proponent of it was for the school children, so that they're able to participate. And it really was a terrific idea, you know, and it was a great event.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Russ?
How many schools participated?
We had PS 72 Lexington Academy and our Hope Leadership Community Center with Children's Aid. So the teens and the Hope Leadership presented on the hazards of asthma and smoking in the community.
So I would suggest to us, let's introduce this to our youth and education committee and have the where it could be at a District 4 school.
Well, that's kind of how we
Yeah, that's. how-
began it, by including it with the overlapping of the
You
youth
know
and
that shit,
education. And
That
then-
is your chair, right? Yeah.
why you starting stuff?
That's why I'm suggesting is that.
No, it's a partnership between
Right.
us.
See, this is the challenge too. Again, I run an after-school program, so I have those kids that day. A lot of programs in schools were not open that day, and that's why I think other programs are not. And in recognition of the Muslim holiday, you know, there were some members of our Hope Leadership Academy that has a large Muslim population that could not attend the event because of their own. So they were hoping we would do it on a different day if it came into conflict again. But we'll do as best as we can.
Do as best as we can, especially since we have to figure out like the whole room thing, because it's on different days.
You know,
Yes, from
we have 23 schools in East Harlem. And I know it's a partnership with Children's Aid and everything, but it could be another school, like, let's announce and see who, would like to participate, even if it is two kids
No, no,
from, this school and.
It was never not to be
Anything
exclusive.
with Earth
It
Day.
was, let's include them as well, and that we didn't do anything in youth beyond that, that we would support that and combine our money. So there were other thoughts that went into it, but it's never to not incorporate. And as Rosa is still the acting president of the CEC, and the meeting is next Wednesday, we can make the announcement that CB11 and the both in collaboration with the Youth and Education and Environment and Open Space, we'll be planning another Earth Day event. And we would like to reach out to other schools and other youth groups in the community. Punto.
see, there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Yes.
So we'll include that on our agenda for on Tuesday and add it. And Rosa can do that presentation on the 14th on our next meeting as well.
Yes,
Eden 24 is on April 10th.
It's on April 10th. this
Oh,
year.
wow.
I was gonna.
Thank you, Jim.
okay.
The school closure on the DOE calendar is April 10th.
So
Thank you.
that we won't have to worry about that. That's what you was gonna say?
Yes, and Passover is on the 22nd.
Yeah.
On
Oh.
Thursday.
On the Passover.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's something that we gotta think about.
The school will be closed for Passover.
No, we know.
There's a weird break between Easter and Passover holiday this year. They're not overlapping. They're like 2 weeks apart.
So, my only, thing that I wanna be thinking about, that if we can find somebody. Or find this to include this, but if we can plant a tree or something like that. I think it would be nice for Earth Day, for us to figure out if we don't necessarily have to do it ourselves. But
Why not?
however we,
Did they put one out for you?
however we can come up with that process, I think, if we can't, we can't. But if it can be done, doing something for the earth.
Yeah, I know.
On Earth Day. Actual, I think would be dope and a good idea. And then we can try to figure that out, even if it's
Right out
something
there.
like plants or something like that, that's fine too. Yes, what's that?
What were you saying?
We need a tree right
Oh.
out front of the board office.
Oh, bad.
There's your tree plan.
Yeah, but it would be, I was gonna say that it would be nice to have the actual tree and like. Yes, I'm ritualistic. And to add the conference to say, this is the tree that we're gonna be planting. Let's give our good thoughts to the tree, draw just incorporated the whole thing of planting the tree and how important it is to take care of the tree that's right where you live. Trees need water, they need, just to make a whole part of it.
Just trying as a feature.
Oh, So, I mean, that, being that said, that's pretty much what we wanted to discuss. Now moving on to old business. We have to vote on the increased funding for parks to 1% of the New York City budget, New Yorkers for parks.
Is this part of that letter of support?
Yes, consideration for like,
What that was sent to us earlier.
yes. I don't have the language on that, that's not supposed to, you just supposed to vote on that, just like as
If
is.
they, like,
Do we have any questions about it?
send up like a sample template, and, in case the committee wanted, somebody, Mr. Ganser is from, Adam Ganser is on from the Yorkshire Parks.
Oh,
Hi there,
okay.
everybody.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. I believe my colleague Daniel Abram presented to you all at the last committee on this, and that's how it ended up in the committee to be voted on today. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on it. I'll just give you a quick summary from my end. New Yorkers for Parks, if you don't know who we are, we've been around for 100 years. We're an independent not-for-profit. We work with parks organizations and neighborhood organizations across the city, many of them in New York Community Board District, including Marcus Garvey Park, Randall's Island, et cetera. We have a collective campaign called Play Fair, which we've been doing for about 4 or 5 years. This is a citywide push to get the administration to dedicate 1% of the parks budget, 1% of the city budget for parks. I'm sure Daniel went through all the history of that and where many other cities are and where New York is embarrassingly at 0.6%. We've got nearly every council member signed on. The mayor himself is signed on to this. 4 out of 5 borough presidents. We're up to about 25 community boards at this point. We're hoping to get them all by the beginning of the year. So we can be pushing on the budget as we go into budget season next spring. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Michelle?
I'd like to make a motion to accept writing a letter of resolution for the 1%. Letter of support, I'm sorry. Letter of support.
We have a second? Jewel? Angel?
Committee members, when I call your name, please answer, with your vote. Was it Diaz?
Yes.
David Giordano?
Yes.
Bill Jones?
Yes.
Malik McCullough?
Yes.
Russell Schuler?
Yes.
Michelle Wiltshire Clement?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. And like I said, if you need a sample of a letter, we've got a bunch of different ones that are very, very quick and easy, and others that are a little bit more detailed from other community boards. Just let us know what would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. As far as new business, this is just like a quick information. We had a great time, well, I did. I don't know about y'all. Throughout the park store this past year, going to the different parks. I was talking to Jessica and I felt like we're gonna be getting on to something new where all the committees are just seeing the different our neighborhood, knowing our neighborhood as a committee. So for 2024, we want to overview the community gardens and see how they look, right? So obviously, we put in our budget request for last year for the different parks. But this year, we want to look at the small community gardens that all around this stuff. So I figure, every other year, we can at least change it to see the updates, to see the failures, to see what's going on, what's going bad. Maybe January, I can kind of like give a schedule and during that meeting, of what community gardens we can visit starting. When did we start? June and May last year? I want to say June.
I don't know.
I can't remember, but
It's the end of June.
yeah, probably like June we started.
I mean, I wasn't good at attending.
No, you wasn't. But
By the way.
you know your
I know the
community.
parks.
Bro. That's the one thing I know. I can tell you that. You know your community. But as far as, the community gardens, I think it'd be a great thing for us. It's like, we wanna just pre-plan everything in advance. We know things come up, even though it's there, we still got other things to do, attend and stuff like that, but that's pretty much what we ought to do. Yes,
So question, what will be the overall purpose of us visiting these community gardens?
so like last year, right? Once we see, these different parks and what conditions they are, we can advocate for these parks or these community gardens if they left alone and deserted, what could we do with them, or do they need funding, or, these different things, so that's what we did for parks, it's a little different for community gardens.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like, there's a difference
But-
between the parks and the community gardens.
But they're
Yeah.
different
The
gardens.
importance of this, you'll find out when you see what a community garden is, where they're located, and the people who are attached to them. It's not something that's like a community garden, these are people who put their lifeblood into it, it's like a park. When you see that, you see a whole different community.
Right, so my point, right, because, because I'm a very involved person. So when I had an experience like last year when I tried to join a community garden near my neighborhood. I wasn't welcome, I was discriminated, and I was basically thrown out. All my vegetables and everything were destroyed, and nothing was done. So like, so moving forward, right? So what can we do to support families or individuals that are raising their concerns with regards to community gardens being very, not open-minded?
Right.
They're open-minded, that's their property,
To put it lightly,
that's their investment, and that's what happens. It's the same thing with the parks, you're not involved in a park, you're outside, they've already have who owns it? Their investment in it, so when people come from the outside, they won't even contribute to it, unless you ask them, or you invite it into it and embrace them. What happens? Doesn't matter.
Parks
That's
are
not
a
what
very
I'm saying.
sensitive issue,
Yeah.
and maybe what we should do is discuss what are some of the concerns?
Yeah.
What are some of the positives? And maybe we should start with the positives before we get into what the concerns are.
How, what help do they need, the perception of the community board and others that wanna come and help. Is why you come in here, we've been asking, if people want things happen for them, so when we come, people, like I said, they own that, that's their investment. Whatever they do on their.
I think the
personal time.
gardens would be a lot more challenging than the
Right,
park
that's what I'm
playgrounds.
saying, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, when we used to go visit them, there are people who made a long-term investment. And then when institutions come in, even as a community board, we wanna make things change. Sometimes they don't want things to change, it's all right, just like it is, because that's the level they want it. So we gotta be able to, if we wanna be friendly about it, just be friendly about it, ask them what do they need, we can make suggestions, and we give them what they ask for, or what they're willing to take from us, if we try to do more than what they wanna do. And then we had the ones that was on 122nd Street and Park Avenue, and one on the other side street in Madison Avenue, perfect. Mind your business. Who has the key, all that kind of stuff, about coming rules and regulations, because we come now, we wanna see something else, a lot of that stuff goes on. So if you don't know that, that's what could happen.
I need a community gardens one-on-one, because I'm thinking this, I mean, is it really some exclusive thing, is it just, like, because I mean, what you just said sounds incredible to me, and I hear what you're saying, but is this, what is the, I mean, who controls them, how do they exist, what is the fund, I mean, how does, I mean, I need.
They're different community
Okay,
gardens and they're
okay.
different classifications.
Okay.
And I would defer to Francis Mastroda for a tutoring 101 on community gardens. But some are very inclusive and some are very exclusive.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Well, they do get the funding from,
They're different gardens and different fundings.
no, I know, because I did take the training and it was around my neighborhood and everything, so it was very weird to me that I reached out to a couple of different entities for help, and no one came to help, so I'm like, okay.
So I think we would need something, we
Yeah.
need to bring like someone with knowledge of community gardens, so. You got
You got something to say?
Knowledge and
I
power.
wasn't gonna say. So there's, to my understanding, unless there's some like freaky hidden kind, there's two kinds of community gardens. There are the gardens that are, green thumb community gardens, green thumb being, overseen by the Parks Department, and there are rules for access and participation. There's supposed to be hours of operations posted. There's supposed to be bylaws for the garden, for how can folks seek to participate, and then there are private gardens, right? So
Right.
I think it's the New York Restoration Project, the Miller's Group has a number of gardens as well. They have, operated under different rules. Some of the community gardens on the positive side have a lot of positive things, right? But, and that should be celebrated, of course. But on the negative side, a recurring criticism is that some gardens are operated, very, closed off. And gardens that are supposed to be offering, hours for public access are not. So I really like this idea, of you all visiting the gardens and seeing for yourselves, what their condition is, how their operations are. And then, leading with the, we wanna learn, and we wanna celebrate you, and then how can we help? And then if you're way at the other end and you're just running a private club, then that's a conversation, right? Cause someone may believe that they own the thing that's public property, but they don't actually own it. And it's, not that we have to start off with, we're gonna take it away, but if you got this under certain rules that you're supposed to be, offering access to the public, then you certainly should be complying with that, expectation of the public, right? So I think if the idea is to get educated about it, and then we figure out where to go from there, I think that's a great idea. I've been here a minute, and that complaint about gardens being closed off, it's pretty consistent.
I love.
Not
the
all of them
idea.
by any stretch of the imagination.
No, yes.
Some, right? And like what Rose is alluding to, I've heard that kind of thing a few times, which is really unfortunate. But then other ones are like awesome, like they're thinking like, what is this? It's like a wonderland, right? So, yeah.
Michelle?
I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Me too.
Cause the closest one to me is Maggie's Garden. And I go and just hang out. I am not a member or a volunteer, but I like, she has art projects that she's doing with recycled things, and she's doing something all the time with whatever kids that are coming, and it's just a very happening place and comfortable. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna go eat lunch. Oh, we're sure, oh, I'm gonna go hang out.
That's what it's supposed to be, a welcoming, friendly environments. So.
And that's my experience, so I'm so sorry that that happened to you, and that's what I'm thinking that a lot of them are like in my head, because that has been my experience. However, I have also seen some in disarray, and I did want to come up, and great minds think alike to go and look at all of these gardens, because we did hear of all the confusion that was happening in, I don't remember what garden it was, what community garden it was, but
The ones that had the battle between.
there was
the
a
two
battle
sides,
happening,
yeah.
and I don't remember
Maggie
on
had a-
purpose probably where it was, so that we can go and not have like any sort of bias and just experience for ourselves.
Yeah, how can we also support those individuals that are having trouble or are being excluded, because it's not your own property, right? It's the public's property. Everyone is included, invited, the community is invited, you know?
But we have to be careful with that. When we say we go to offer something that we can't deliver.
That's what I'm saying, like, I wanna know, like, what would be the purpose? I love the initiative of visiting, how can we help, you know what I mean? And a letter of support of some sort for you to get more funding or whatever it is that we can possibly do. I love that.
Actually, I think Angel is right. Get to know them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Often?
Often, you trying to say he's right.
Angel is oftenly right.
I was trying to sneak that one.
No, I'm sorry.
But I think what we do is, we just wanna get to know you, we wanna get to know the gardens. We wanna get to know our community, last year, we went around to know all the parks. And found ways we can be helpful, as opposed to change, cause. Let me tell you something, there've been complaints about Maggie's Garden in this committee, yes. Don't get me wrong, I supplied the lights and electricity for Maggie's Christmas for a month, every year. But again, sometimes we're not always as welcoming to everybody as we are to others. And gardens throughout this community have a history of not always welcoming everybody to come have lunch and share that moment.
Okay.
I get along with Maggie. Me and Maggie work together. I'm gonna move the building right back again, and I'm gonna use Maggie again for programming, and my backyard is gonna overlap into the garden. So I have a very good relationship with Maggie, but again, we all have different experiences, and I'm not saying anything that's not publicly known, because these meetings were all documented as they've been in the past. And there have been ongoing issues with Maggie's garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, like some, and that's unfortunate, right? That should be looked at. But I think it's also fair, and I'm not a champion for community gardens, so I'll just put that on the table. But I've learned over time, some of them are remarkable. Like over at Pleasant Village Community Garden, which, you know, has a kind of half and half kind of history. The active part, like you forget you're in the city, like it's incredible amount of growth that they have in there. And then there's another part was, you know, and then there are other gardens in the district which are kind of, they aren't more growing, they're more like sitting and contemplating, which are really great. And then some of them, the door's locked. So again, I think the idea of going around and seeing for yourselves, and then if you could drag along, if I can make the suggestion, drag along newer members of the board. One is a way of getting to know them, but also introducing them to the stuff in the district. Like I was telling you after another meeting.
Yeah.
Any of these opportunities to celebrate the good stuff in the district, I think we have to just double down on it, because unfortunately, since we're problem focused a lot of times, which is important, the conversation gets too negative. So like the idea might get out there that this is just a, you know, a wasteland, which it isn't. There are challenges, but there's a lot of really great stuff. So every opportunity to celebrate the good stuff, I want to encourage you all to do.
Lastly, is this the updated amount of community gardens that's in it?
So this
Or
is-
do they have a different
Thank you,
version?
because I was about to ask for help here. So when you're doing it, so this is the list as current as I have it, right? If in your touring, or when you're preparing for your touring, there's updates, please.
Could we
I'd
send
like to
me
make
a
fixes.
different one that had, it's from Parks and Recreation, and it
Okay.
sent me to a specific, and I had to, filter it to Parks.
Okay,
I'm gonna filter it to,
East Harlem.
well, no, well, East Harlem, of course, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna filter it to community gardens.
Okay.
And once I do that, I'll cross
And we'll see, yeah.
and we'll see, okay?
Thank you.
That being said, it's about that time.
Yeah, because
Okay, hold on.
Chinchitas is in 111 only, like in the corner of 111, it's no longer in 112. It
Okay.
used to be in one.
No, but send me the note, I'll fix it, I'm happy to fix it, like. give me-
And their
give me some-
Chinchitas is amazing.
Yeah.
Angela, you do an amazing
And you
job.
know, 111th Street, that whole, remember, that was one big garden or multiple
Yeah.
gardens.
Yeah.
And it was consolidated to 4 gardens.
Yeah, and
Nobody
I
else
just said,
nobody else have anything to say?
I just wanted to say that, I want to commend you and Jessica in terms of the whole parks tour. I mean, it was incredible, the way you guys set that up, so I just really wanted to
Yes,
say
it
that.
was.
It really wasn't, I was able to go to a couple here and there, but you guys did a great job.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Thank you.
You know,
Right. All right, Angel, roll call.
Committee members, when I call your name, please answer present. Rosa Diaz,
Present.
David Giordano,
President,
Bill Jones,
Present.
Malik McCullough.
He present.
You have to say? Russell Schuler,
President.
Michelle, what's your climate?
Present.
You have roll call. I mean, you have.
The meeting is
Okay,
adjourned.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
you did that with the roll
Second,
call.
good night. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Night, everyone.